Somewhere beneath a glacier that has not moved in 1,000 years, there is a village that time forgot to erase. No war destroyed it. No fire consumed it. It simply stopped, mid-breath, mid-meal, mid-life, and the ice closed over it like a curtain falling on a play no one was meant to see the end of. For centuries, it waited in silence. Then, one spring, the ice began to melt. High in the folds of a mountain range where the air is thin and the wind never truly stops, there is a valley that shepherds once called cursed. Not because of monsters, not because of ghosts, but because of what the elders said lay beneath the glacier that filled it. A village, whole and untouched, sealed in ice so old that no living memory could explain how it got there. For generations, this was dismissed as a folk tale, the kind of story told around fires to keep children from wandering too far into the white silence of winter. But folk tales, as it turns out, sometimes remember what history forgets. Because when the glacier began to retreat, slowly, inch by inch, the way all glaciers do when the world grows warmer, it did not reveal bare rock. It revealed rooftops, door frames, the curved lip of a clay pot, still sitting exactly where someone had left it. What we are about to witness is the reconstruction of a place frozen not just in ice, but in time itself. A village where the last ordinary day was never finished, where the fire in the hearth went out mid-burn, and the story of its people was paused, not ended. Somewhere in this ice, there is an answer. The question is whether we are ready for it. Before the ice, there was life. Picture the valley in its final living spring. Terraced fields cut into the mountainside like steps built for giants, each one holding just enough soil to grow barley, oats, or root vegetables hardy enough to survive short summers and long, merciless winters. Smoke rises from a cluster of low stone houses, their roofs thick with turf to hold in warmth. Somewhere, a dog barks. Somewhere else, a child laughs. This was never a grand village. It held perhaps 200 or 300 people, herders, weavers, tool makers, and the handful of elders who remembered when the glacier at the valley's edge was smaller, further away, less hungry. Because that is the detail that changes everything. The people of this village did not build beside the ice by accident. They built beside it because once it was smaller, safer, a source of meltwater in summer, a wall against the worst winds in winter. For generations, the glacier was a neighbor, slow, predictable, almost gentle, until it wasn't. Climate in high mountain valleys can shift with a violence that flatland civilizations rarely experience. A run of colder years, a shift in snowfall patterns, and a glacier that had crept along quietly for 100 years can suddenly surge forward, not in centuries, but in seasons. The villagers would have seen it coming. Slowly at first, a field lost to ice at the valley's edge. Then another. The elders, no doubt, argued about what it meant. Some would have said, "Move now." Others would have said, "The mountain has always groaned and settled. It will stop." It did not stop. There is something almost unbearable about the idea of a last ordinary day. A day that no one in the village knew was the last one. Reconstructions of the site show meals left mid-preparation. Grain stored in vessels, sealed as if for the following morning. Tools set down, not hidden or packed for a journey, but placed the way you set something down when you intend to return to it in an hour. This was not a village that fled in terror from fire or invasion. There is no evidence of battle, no scattered weapons, no signs of a desperate defense. What the ice preserved instead is something quieter, and in some ways far more haunting. The residue of a life interrupted without warning. The most likely explanation, pieced together from soil layers and ice cores, is a catastrophic advance of the glacier itself, possibly triggered by a sudden and severe drop in temperature combined with a season of unusually heavy snowfall further up the mountain. In some high-altitude disasters like this, an ice dam upstream can fail, sending a wall of frozen debris and meltwater surging down a valley in a matter of hours. If that happened here, the village would have had almost no warning at all. Imagine the sound first. A distant groan, low and enormous, the kind that mountain people learn to recognize as trouble long before they understand exactly what kind. Then a tremor underfoot. Then, perhaps, someone glancing up toward the glacier's edge and seeing something that should not move, moving. By the time anyone understood what was happening, there may have been only minutes left. Ice is a strange kind of witness. Unlike ash, which buries and burns, ice preserves without destroying. It does not char wood or shatter pottery. It simply stops time, holding every object exactly as it was in the instant the cold closed over it. This is why, when researchers eventually reached the deepest chambers of the site, they found something almost eerie in its ordinariness. A woven basket, its fibers still flexible after being freed from the ice. Leather footwear, stitched with a technique that told its own quiet story about trade routes stretching far beyond this isolated valley. A child's toy, carved from bone, worn smooth by small hands. Every object like this is a curiosity loop the ice itself seems to open. Who wore these shoes? Where did that leather come from if it wasn't local? What did the child think about playing here in a village they believed would stand forever? The cold did something else too, something scientists are still studying. In certain sealed chambers, organic material survived far longer than it should have, protected from the bacteria and oxygen that normally erase the past within decades. This is the same principle that has allowed frozen bodies, seeds, and even ancient viruses to be recovered from permafrost elsewhere in the world, sometimes after tens of thousands of years. In other words, this village was not simply buried, it was preserved. As the ice retreated further, the shape of the village itself began to emerge, and with it, a clearer picture of how these people had built a life at the edge of the habitable world. The houses were low, partially built into the hillside, using the earth itself as insulation against winds that could drop temperatures dangerously within hours. Shared walls conserved heat between households, a design choice that speaks to a community that understood, deeply and practically, that survival here was never a solitary act. At the center of the settlement, researchers uncovered what appears to be a communal gathering space, larger than any single home, with evidence of repeated, sustained fires at its hearth. This was likely where decisions were made, where winters were endured together, where stories were told long before any of them imagined their own village would one day become one. Nearby, a structure built almost entirely from stone, more durable than the turf-roofed homes around it, may have served as a storehouse. Grain, dried meat, tools, the accumulated insurance against a bad season. Its contents, sealed and frozen, offer one of the clearest windows into what daily survival actually required in a place like this. Every stone tells you something. Every wall is a decision made by people responding to a landscape that offered beauty and danger in equal measure. There is a specific layer in the ice, a boundary researchers now refer to almost reverently, where the ordinary evidence of daily life simply ends. Below it, tools mid-use, food mid-preparation, footprints frozen in soft ground that had not yet hardened for winter. Above it, nothing but ice, compact and undisturbed for centuries. This line is, in the most literal sense possible, the moment a village became a memory. What makes it so powerful is not drama, but the absence of it. There is no scene of chaos captured here, no scattered belongings suggesting panic, no signs of a desperate final struggle. Instead, there is simply an interruption, a stop, as though an enormous silent hand had reached down and paused everything at once. Some researchers believe this points to a disaster that moved with terrifying speed, fast enough that there was no time for the kind of scattered debris a slower catastrophe would leave behind. Others suggest a slower, more insidious ending. A winter that never fully released its grip, ice creeping further each season until, one year, it simply did not stop advancing when spring should have arrived. Either way, the village did not fade. It was interrupted. It would be easy to look at a discovery like this and see only tragedy. But there is something else here too. Something that feels, against all odds, hopeful. Villages like this one remind us that human beings have always found ways to live at the very edge of what the planet allows. In brutal cold, at impossible altitudes, beside ice that could destroy everything in an instant, people built homes, raised children, told stories, found warmth in each other when the world outside offered none. And in a strange twist, the very force that ended this village's daily life is also the reason we know it existed at all. The ice that buried it also protected it, sealing away a fragment of human experience so complete, so intimate, that it survived long enough for us to finally understand it. As glaciers around the world continue to retreat due to changing climate patterns, sites like this one are being uncovered with increasing frequency. A strange and sobering gift from a warming planet, revealing secrets it once vowed to keep forever. Each one is a message across time, not from empires or kings, but from ordinary people who never imagined they would one day be found. And so, the village that vanished without a scream, without a war, without even the chance to say goodbye to itself, has finally been allowed to speak. Not through grand monuments or golden treasures, but through a woven basket, a worn pair of shoes, a hearth that once held a fire meant to last through one more winter. The ice took everything from these people in an instant, and yet, in doing so, it gave them something almost no other village in history has ever received. An untouched voice, waiting patiently across centuries to finally be heard. History, it turns out, does not always disappear. Sometimes it simply waits beneath the surface for the world to grow warm enough and curious enough to listen. If this story moved you, consider subscribing for more hidden histories brought back to life, and let us know in the comments which frozen, forgotten, or buried place in the world you'd like us to uncover next. Subscribe for more hidden histories and drop a comment below.